Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series, Game 3. How about that, guys? That shows you just how high in esteem I hold you all. I don't think I've ever done that, actually. 3 games in a day. Unless, of course, I was doing one of the tournament ones that I used to do ages ago. But, yeah, I don't usually have the time. But today, I have. Actually, the problem is actually finding the replays. And just so happens I was sitting on 3 that I thought were quite fun. And here is number 3, baby. That's right. It's going to be a ladder match returning to that format. And it's all going to go down on Badlands. So let's head on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. I don't know what it is with Badlands, but everybody must have it in their map pool or something. Because just seeing so many games at the moment coming out in Badlands, and people just like it. I guess it's because it's heavy on mass, I don't know, so the game escalates quickly because people kind of lean towards big games but quick games at the same time. But that's just a theory, I don't know, worth checking. Answers on a postcard if you have a better one, which you probably do. Let's take a look at our players. Up here, going first in the blue corner, it's none other than the quintessential Yama Dharma, and he's going Aeon, opening first land. And his opponent down here in the red corner, it's none other than my good friend Chosen, and he's also going Aeon, so it's a mirror matchup, and he's also going first land. So we'll take a look at what these guys are doing. Speed through the first initial units that come out of the conveyor belt. So we've got 2 engineers out, and then a spirit and an aurora for Chosen. It's the initial build that he's running, as opposed to 4 engineers from Yama Dharma. So Yama Dharma looking to go mass expansionist, and Chosen looking to apply a little bit of aggression, or potentially maybe using those units defensively, although it doesn't look like it for the moment. He's moving one out here, potentially using it defensively, and the second one is going to go looking for expanding Engies. It is fascinating, the different build orders and tactics that people employ in just the first few moments of the game. When I first started casting, honestly, I used to skip over it because it wasn't interesting at all to me, but you really do see how these early few choices that you make can set up the rest of the game, which is why it's really important to get things like scout planes out quickly to determine what it is that your player is doing. Intel, intel, intel. Absolutely essential. But Yama Dharma moving out east with his ACU. It's almost like he senses the threat, but of course, no way he's going to have the intel up that early. Those units from Chosen going to come in around the back and lie in wait, I suppose, for any Engies that might befoul their path around the side. The 2 units on the left are going to get caught. Some nice micro going on from both players, but that's going to go better for Yama Dharma. He's going to hold on to both his Aurora and Spirit. Chosen will lose both of his. More units coming up the middle. I'm quite surprised to see momentarily Chosen in the lead on mass. I think that's more an accident of just the order in which he's gone things. I don't think it's going to continue that way. Yama Dharma seems much less aggressive and much more into expansion, but that bomber out from Yama Dharma picking up an engineer, preventing him from completing that T1 PD in the center there. There's a clump of Engies he's going to surely want to go for in the middle. He arcs, gets the bomb away. Oh my goodness. A whole family killed. It's awful. I can't believe it. But units pouring up the middle meanwhile from Chosen. Let's go to dual box as we keep an eye on these 2 theaters. Let's go back to single box because the bomber got shot down. Nice work there from, well, not from me, but certainly from Chosen, getting that bomber sorted. Concentrate, Gyle. Get back on top of things. Engineers out front, building some PD for Yama Dharma, but doing what he can at the moment to pick off these Auroras as they come meandering their way through this collection of craters in the center here. It's generally a good idea to make a play for this area in your opponent's base, because of course there's so much mass to pick up. You know there's going to be engineers in there, and the earlier you can kill off those Engies, the earlier you're going to be able to deny, or the quicker you're going to be able to deny your opponent resources. Still relatively even in eco, although Yama Dharma for a moment there looking like he was edging ahead, and certainly Yama Dharma banking more reclaims so far in the first 6 minutes. Yama Dharma has picked up 800, Chosen picking up 200, but neither player focusing too heavily on reclaim right off the bat. Instead favouring of pushing their engineers out to the extremities. I guess it's a feature of this map. I mean, there's so many mexes to pick up on this one. You see how many T1 mexes Yama Dharma's got under his control. 23 mexes in the first 6 minutes he's picked up. I mean, there aren't many maps out there that play like this. So I guess Reclaim takes a bit of a back seat. Get out there, grab mexes first, and then get the Reclaim in to help you tech them up, or indeed help you tech up your factories to get onto the next tier of units. Another bomber out from Yama, not quite so spectacular this time. Bomb falls short and gets himself shot down by all of the thistles that are waiting for him, but a decent push over on the western flank from Yama has denied the grab of those 4 mexes. Yama going to want to shuffle his position slightly. If he's going to face these units head on, he'll want to reposition his formation, I'm certain of it. But will he be able to grab this engineer as well? Yes, he is doing a very nice job of slowing things down, and Chosen must be having critical power issues. There we go. You see his mass drop right down there into the 20s. Needs to get that sorted out and fast. Let's have a look to see if we can find out what's causing those issues. There's surely going to be some upgrades somewhere. And there goes the obligatory T1 PGen spam to sort the issues out. 69 mass per tick income for Yama, plays 50 for Chosen. Chosen actually looking a little bit more aggressive at grabbing map control in the center, although he doesn't have a lot to defend it now. One engineer throwing together an eruptor to hopefully prevent Yama from just coming in and taking that back. Of course, all it's going to take is a fervor or two with a little bit of intel. I think we can safely knock this back up a notch. All of the main bodies of troops have been destroyed, but we've got another push coming out from Yama. Posturing, making it look like he's going to be making a play for the middle. One further to the front, and down goes that PD. Just too easy to counter the T1 PDs. So I would like there to be a deployment penalty for mobile light artillery. Stop the Zooies firing from water. But it won't get past the Badlands team, I can tell you that. It's supremely unpopular. I did propose it a few months back, probably about a year ago now actually. A long time ago. Definitely didn't prove a popular idea, but a nice run by on the western edge from Chosen, picking off 2 mexes, going some way to mitigate the deficit which he finds himself in now in terms of mass. Upgrade going on Yama-Dama's comm, so he's not able to pin these units up against the side with his ACU. Instead he's got to try and prevent them from grabbing these mexes with his own T1. One of them goes down. Going to be successful in saving the other 2, however. Still 3 units alive at the back, though, at the western end. Another potential run-by coming in from Yama over in the west, and looks like he's beelining for that engineer who's trying to wall off this entire section of the map, but Chosen wants to keep that engineer alive at all costs. He owes it a life debt. Bringing his ACU across. Nice bomb there from Chosen, taking out 4 or 5 units in that pile. Around the back they go, making their way around the edge of the wall section and into the rear reaches of Chosen's base, coming up for 13 minutes gone in this one so far. That engineer still alive and allowed to continue with his Hadrian's Wall project. Single bomber out for Chosen, trying to deal with that ban, but Thistle making life a little bit difficult. There it goes though, no more coverage from the air. But look at this push over in the east from Yama. 2 mexes down for Chosen. PD about to follow, get some cheeky rank up in veterancy there as the further shells land. Not enough to save it, but it took a decent number of units with it. This is a costly set of battles for these two players. Tech now on the field for Yama Dharma, the odd obsidian rolling out, and of course a line of Oblivion turrets emerging in the center as well, or left of center for Yama Dharma. But Chosen, you nutter, commander right up front, has got the support of some T1 tanks and an asylum to cover his comm, taking Oblivion fire. In come the fervors, knocks out the PD and the two T2 engineers that was producing them. Nice grab there. This is good work from Chosen, and it's actually drawn Yama Dharma's attention away from his push in the southeast, which is allowing Chosen to deal with those units with his bombers. Very nice, aggressive work indeed, and he's doing this from a pretty significant mass deficit, 135 mass to 77. Yama Dharma's ecoing flying at the moment. But Chosen definitely keeping him busy. Needs to seal this breach somehow. Doesn't want any more units flowing down this way. But Chosen for the moment pushing and slanting left as he moves his way up the map. This is definitely the area of the map he's focusing on with his commander and units in tow. One solitary fervor dispatching engineers trying to erect some seekers, some anti-air turrets. A good job of disrupting things, that's for certain. Now Chosen getting a handle of what's happening in the east as well. Gotta like his work, doing all of this from the position he's in. That wall section now looking pretty complete. There are a few gaps at the sides, but of course he's going to want to be able to get his own units out. Never want to make too many wall sections, of course, because if you end up hitting a long game, it can affect unit cap. He gets 4 units, 4 wall sections for 1 unit of unit cap. Something like that. Last of the Obsidians dealt with in the middle. Build capacity on reclaim mission now under threat for Yama Dharma. And Chosen has got the chrono dampener on his comm. You can see the EMP pulses going out there. There we go. It's nice to see that used more and more now. Recent changes have made it viable. And it promotes Rambocom, which, let's face it, is always fun, but we've got T3 emerging from Chosen. Where is the HQ for Yama Dharma? We've got a T2 Air Factory HQ and T2 Land Factory, but immediately he sees the Harbingers, reactionary-wise, has to go for an upgrade himself, doesn't want to face too high a tech deficit. Harbinger making its way into the middle, gets toasted by Oblivion turrets. It's remarkable though what Chosen is doing on less eco. Just shows you sometimes you can eco a little bit too hard, which I think is what Yama Dharma's been doing. Never was a game so finely balanced between economy and aggression as SOPCOM, but a GC underway down here for Chosen. Started around the minute mark or so. 14 to 15,000 hit points completed so far of the 100,000 hit points it takes to complete it. Obsidians looking for some access to Chosen's base now. Nothing on the ground in the vicinity to deal with them. Chosen, I believe, still operating off T1 air tech. There is 3 air factories, all at T1, so no gunships available to deal with the Obsidians. Chosen seems to be withdrawing his comm from the front, but he's waltzed in a Harbinger. That should be good, I think, to deal with 3 Obsidians. There we go. No trouble whatsoever. Chases down the lead. And that will be the end of that. GC, 42,000 hit points complete and climbing. Somehow, that Obsidian is still alive. There we go. Once again, territory reasonably secure for Chosen. He does want to deal with these Mantis, these units of build capacity in the middle. Close to Mantis. Haven't even got a Cyber playing what's going on. Which he does with a couple of flares. Or 6 flares, I should say. Look at that. Cheap, quick, and easy to build when you know you're going in on an engineer assassination mission. Why waste slow units on them? You can quickly throw them together, which is what he's done out of here and just sent them straight up. Unfortunately, he did come a cropper on some reinforcing units coming down the center, but look at this. Pouring in of units on the right-hand side from Yama, Dharma. I don't think Chosen ever re-established those mexes on the east. I could be wrong about that, but the Hydro in the east falls as well, and now more units coming in down the center. Chosen has moved his comm in to assist. That GC, however, very nearly complete, and he'll be able to start producing more units on the ground the moment that that gets up and walks, which it's about to do. There we go. However, tons of blue units in his base streaming in, and we've now got T3 on the field for Yama Dharma as well. Some Harbingers in the mix. The GC is going to reposition itself. It needs to contend with all these units if he wants to stop them completely destroying his base. It's going to be a tough one. So many units on the field. We've also got T2 air tech for Yama Dharma, who's just generally better developed, but that is a serious weapon on the field. You can see where he's headed. He's coming straight to the top right-hand corner, and that is where Yama Dharma's ACU is currently located. Yes, he has a couple of units, or a handful of units of T2 PD in there, but that's not enough to stop a GC at the moment. He's got a few gunships over here he might want to think about bringing over. Line of scout planes coming out from Chosen. He wants to maintain visual on this corner base. GC now halfway across the map to it, bearing down on that position. Yama Dharma still not moving. He has to be concerned about what's coming his way. He's busy, I guess, directing his own units, which are slowly knocking out all of the structures around Chosen's base. This is an all-or-nothing play. If the GC doesn't manage to kill the comm here, or at least basically destroy all of this base, Chosen is going to lose this game. Yama Dharma rolling out as best he can. Does he have a transport to get himself away? He's just built one, sending it over, and he's got swift winds for coverage as well, so they're not going to be shot down. The GC is bearing in on Yama Dharma's comm, but the transport lands! The transport lands in front of the comm, and it's going to get the comm killed. Yama Dharma, oh my goodness me. That is very painful. He had basically won 214 mass per tick, playing 59. If only he'd been able to deal with that GC, or at least get his comm out. Look at this, the amount of stuff bearing down on it. He had Spectres in the area. He had Harbingers coming in on the ground. There's the odd unit of Oblivion down here, which would have basically taken off too many HP for it to get in here. I think this game would have been over. He was already picking up mexes over in the southeast down here, but how incredibly annoying. Yama Dharma probably thrilled that this has been cast, but that's just the way SOPCOM goes. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. More to come from me as always in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle signing out.